into the wind now. I'm going to slow it down a little bit. Around 1976 or so, I'd been riding for a few years, and I really wanted to get into dirt bike riding. I lived in Whittier at the time, a suburb of Los Angeles, and didn't have a dirt bike, nowhere to ride in the dirt around there. So what's a boy to do? Well, in those days there was a place called Saddleback Park in Orange County. That was about 20-25 miles from my house. So one day I took off to Saddleback, and in those days you could rent a bike there. And that's what I did. I rented a dirt bike. Didn't really have any dirt bike gear. I had a street helmet, some boots, some gloves, and that was about it. And rented a bike, had no clue what I was doing. Rode all over that place. It's had a whole bunch of hills and trails all over the place. But I crashed that rental bike several times. I remember going over the handlebars one time. And yikes, kind of got beat up. But I thought it was fun, you know. I think when I took the bike back, I had to pay for some damage on it. And the guy must have thought I was nuts. You know, I said, man, that was really fun. So I was pretty well hooked on that. And around the same time, a friend of mine was going to go dirt bike riding up in in Eastern California, up in the mountains. He asked me if I wanted to come along, and he had an extra bike. So I said, yeah, definitely. You know, I was an experienced dirt bike rider then. So this bike I was going to ride was some sort of a Bultaco. It had all the controls were reversed. But later in the day, I finally got the hang of it and rode that all around the mountains up there. So anyway, that was how I got into dirt bike riding. I was pretty well hooked after that. I went down to the local Suzuki dealer and came away from there with a 1977 brand new RM250 motocross bike. It was about $1,200 brand new, and I got all the gear to go along with it. And I spent several years going back and forth to Saddleback Park and had a great time there. Never raced it, but that motocross track, that was pretty cool riding. It had its enormous hills and jumps. I mean, I wasn't in very good physical shape, but I could go around that track once or twice, and I was exhausted. I had to stop and rest. But it was pretty cool, though. But I finally got enough dirt bike riding. And I turn here for a second. And right. I don't have anybody behind me yet. Anyway, I finally got enough dirt bike riding, and I wound up selling the dirt bike. I had another enduro at the time, a Yamaha 360, and I sold that too. And I really wanted a nice freeway street bike, something that was as powerful as the H1 triple was, but they didn't make those anymore. So in 1984, Yamaha was blowing out a bunch of 82 bikes that they were unable to sell, and so I took them up on their offer and came away from there with a brand new 1982 XJ650 Seika Turbo. the biggest bike I've ever owned. This thing was a 520-pound beast. It's a 650, so it was actually had a pretty good amount of power to start with. And then it was a turbo, and boy, when that turbo cut in, ooh, is that a neat feeling. So I had that for probably about 5 years. Rode all around the LA freeways. I eventually moved up to Wrightwood, and I had a little business in Orange County, and I commuted on that bike between Wrightwood and Orange County, which was about 70 miles. That bike was smooth and powerful on the freeway. Really loved riding it, but it was a very heavy bike. Anyway, that's about all I have for this time. If you like this video at least a little bit, click on the like and subscribe to my channel. I have like over 1,200 videos, and some of these future MotoVlogs, I'll be showing you some clips to some of the videos that I've done in the last 5 years. Been on YouTube for 5 years now, 5.5 years. So managed to crank out a lot of videos on a lot of different subjects. So until next time, stay safe and stay vertical.